Hello, welcome to my class. If you need to contact me, you can write to me at this address, pascalclass@heyman.us. And I also have some help files out at heyman.us/pascalclass/associated.html. Today we're going to discuss creating a database that is graphical. First of all, we have to get into Lazarus. So start your Lazarus app, and I have a ZEOS Access tab on here, but this is not going to be pre-installed. So you would basically have to come to Package menu item, come down to Online Package Manager. In this little area, put this little edit field. We're going to type in ZEOS, ZEOS, and as you see, it is here. You would click on that and click Install down here if it's not installed. When it's done with the install, it's going to ask you to rebuild Lazarus, and you're going to need to go ahead and let it do that. Next up, we really need to set up the database. And in this window, I have my MySQL account. So first we have to issue the create database. And I'm going to call this new database Car Shop. And we're going to be designing an app for a car dealership. This is just a toy app. There's not going to be any real data in it. And we're going to go to, we're going to tell it then to use Car Shop. And I already have a script set up. And I have it in this text editor. I'm defining 3 tables. You do it with create table. Give it a name. It is case sensitive, and then define the columns within the table and what their value, what type of field they are. And then I have a create an unique index for each table. So over here on our root account, I'm just going to run this script. I've tested it. It does work. So now we can, well, since we're not going to do anything destructive further at this point, we can go to our regular MySQL account. I can tell it to use car shop. Well, actually, there is one more thing we need to do in the red account, but I can issue a show tables here. And I can do a show columns from auto. Autos. We have an index row column, the make column, the model column, year, miles, color, price, and status. Price is the only thing that I have as a numeric type. Now we need to come over here, and I'm going to give it a new user and password. You don't have to do this. You could use your general user account, but I don't want to show my password and you would see it. So I'm going to issue a grant, select, comma, update, comma, insert, comma, delete on carshop dot asterisk to car user at localhost identified by cars.com. Not a very good password, by the way, but okay, that part is done. Now we'll want to go to Lazarus, and we're going to want to create a new application. So we're going to go to Project. We're going to close this project. And I generally name them first form main. Or main form in this case. And we're going to do a save as. We don't want it there. I've already created a directory for it. It's going to save the project name, which we're going to call Car Shop. I'm going to call the Pascal file just main. All right, that is saved. Every time I create a new form in this, I'm going to save it just to get the Pascal file saved under a proper name and the form saved under a proper name. It's too easy to lose your way if you don't do that. And the first form we need above the primary form is one for our database components. So up here, well, the second icon on the left side of the screen is our create form. So we've created a new form here. And we're going to give this name something easy to remember. Just DB form. Now, once this is created and saved, I'm just going to click Save All. It's going to ask me for the unit, and I'm going to just call it DB unit. The first, we have to drop the most leftward component. It's called a TZ connection, and this is on the ZOS Access tab. We're going to drop it on here. And I'm going to name it. Z connection 1 is not very meaningful. I'll call it car DB. Next, we need to define in this what the protocol is, and it's just MySQL. The reason we're using ZOS instead of what we have been using is it's more flexible and it's much more graphically usable. The other database tools we were using in the batch programs is actually a little faster, but almost everyone is using this LazarusDbAppPt1. The next, we need to define the database. And we called it car shop. We're going to need a user, and we just called it car user, I believe, and a password, which is cars.com. And then we can change it to active, or actually connected. It says connected here. It's on false is currently selected. If we select there click on it, it'll check it to yes and try to open it, and it opened successfully. Now we actually have 3 tables out here, and we're going to need 2 more icons for each table. and we want a TZ query. And we're going to call this autos dot. So we're going to go to the name and change it to autos query. And we're going to need to put a valid select statement in there. Well, we're going to need to put the data source, or the connection, actually. Select CarDB, and down on SQL, you got some dots to the right. Just click on it, and in here we'll want to put just select asterisk from autos. And you should probably put an order statement in here. So order by auto index. Let me check the case on that. Yes, I've got the case right. Click OK. And I'm going to try to open it and see if it's successful. It shows the first field in the object inspector is active. We want it true. It says I have an error in my SQL statement. Just a simple typo. Try to open it again. Another typo. Too bad I can't see these when I... You do not need to put a semicolon in the SQL statement you type into Lazarus. It just knows. And a semicolon might actually give you an error. All right, we got it open. You also need, from data access, you need the you need a data source. And in the data source, you put the data set in. It's just a drop-down box, and select autos.query. And we're going to give it a name. Autos data source, or DS for data source. Those are good, meaningful names. There's two more tables, and we would need two more data sources. So we can go back to ZOS access. We're going to call this one make query. And the third one is going to be model query. And we're going to need a data source for both of those. Third one's going to be for the model query, and the data source, we'll just call it model DS. I'm not going to go into setting up the SQL statements for both of those yet. We'll get back to that. Now, let's do a file save all. And then we are going to come up here and create another form. Probably not going to need to be quite that big. And we're going to go ahead and put a name on it. I'm going to call it auto edit or auto edit form. And we're going to save all. Now on the Data Controls tab, there is a what they call a TDB navigator. And in here, it wants to refer back to a data source. And so if we come over here to the Object Inspector and click on Data Source and use the drop-down box, we can select AutoDS from DB Form. And in here, below where you have this funky left curly bracket $R asterisk .lfm, we're going to want to put a uses DB unit. And in here, in the data controls, the third one from the left is the TDB edit. And over here, since we have it selected, we can look it up on the Object Inspector. We're not going to put a name in yet. We are going to put, we have to mention the data source. And then we have to tell it what data field we're using. So it can be auto index. And we should put a label on it. And just put in caption the word index. Go back to data controls, put another edit field down. I like things to line up. And choose the data source again. Choose the field. Let's make it the make. Let's make it a little bigger than this. And we'll do the same thing with model. Go to data source, select the same data source, select the model. There's a whole bunch of other fields in there, and we can go and improve it by putting those fields in. But we can test this to see how we're doing. There's a problem over here. In the main form, we're going to want that uses, and we're going to want to put in auto edit. And on the main form, we're going to want to go to standard, and I'm just going to select a button. There is the ability to create menu items, but a button's just as easy, and it looks really nice with buttons going up and down, straight up and down. On caption, we're going to put car edit. And we'll want to give this button a name. And I end it with BUT because I want to signify that it is a button. We can then double click on it and it'll drop us right into a procedure. And we can say I believe that form is called auto edit form. Just give the form name, dot show modal. When you make it modal, that means only one window can be made active with the other window without. You can't click from window to window unless you exit out. But show modal will be quite fine for what we're doing here. And if I've got an error here, and it's acting like I do, well, we'll see. It's given me a compile error. Go back to main. Now it has started this as a window here. And just click on the car edit button, and we could put in a let's say Chevy Impala. And up here, plus makes a new record. Minus deletes a record. The check mark writes the record. If you click the X, it would say abort. This is a refresh. This allows you to move around within the table. As you see, since there's no data out there, those are not highlighted. I'm going to click check, and let's put another record out here. Okay, now if we do a select asterisk from autos, we've got 2 rows out there now. This does work. Okay, I have gone and added the rest of the fields to the autos. This is just repetitive of what we've already done. I've added year, miles, color, price, and status. And I've gotten ahead and put a header up here to identify what the app is and make it nice and pretty. You may argue that point, though. It wasn't that difficult to put that up there. You just come here to the label, click right here, and put the caption in, and right here on the very left where it says caption, click on it. We should be able to... No, I'm sorry, it was font. Click on the plus signal here for font. Click on color, and I made it red, which is in here somewhere. And on font, I made it bold italic, and I changed it to 40. And this is no longer big enough. There. Now you can click on the arrow again to get it to run, or F9. And it comes up nice and neat with all the data items out there. I have gone and added data to those other columns. Now the arrows let you go back and forth because there's actual data in it. Also, if you are on one of these data items and you make a change, and then click one of the movement arrows, it will post first. So you don't technically have to hit both post and the movement. You just hit movement. This is pretty nice. You can directly key in data into a MySQL table, but we can do better.